Harper stood quietly in front of the shelter, her heart swelling with pride. The building, though small and humble, had become her sanctuary, a place where lives were saved, both human and animal. Her dog, Tucker, sat peacefully by her side, his tail occasionally wagging as if content with the peaceful evening. She couldn't help but think of how far they had come together. The shelter wasn't just a refuge for abandoned and neglected animals. It had become a place of transformation for everyone involved. Every dog, cat, or even the occasional rabbit that walked through those doors was given a second chance, a new beginning. But it wasn't just the animals who were changing. Harper had grown, too. She had discovered a sense of purpose here that she had never known before. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the stillness of the evening wash over her. The only sound was the soft rustling of leaves in the wind and Tucker's contented sigh as he lay beside her. He had been through so much himself, rescued from the streets, alone and terrified. Yet he had blossomed into a dog who was capable of healing others, helping them find the courage to trust again. Tucker had become her rock, her companion in every sense of the word. Without him, Harper wasn't sure if the shelter would have had the same impact. That evening, she received a phone call that would change everything. "Harper, we've got a call about 2 golden retrievers." Andrew's voice crackled over the line, full of urgency. "They've been found abandoned on the side of the road. They're in pretty bad shape. I think we need to help them." Harper felt a sharp tug at her heart. The thought of 2 golden retrievers, gentle creatures by nature, being left to fend for themselves in the world, filled her with an overwhelming sadness. Without hesitation, she gathered her things. "I'll meet you at the van in 10 minutes, she said, already heading for the door. Within moments, Harper and Andrew were on their way. The ride was quiet, except for the hum of the engine and the occasional soft growl from Tucker, who was lying contentedly in the back seat. They arrived at the location, a stretch of road lined with trees. The golden retrievers were in a makeshift pen, looking terrified but hopeful. The dogs were in rough shape. Their fur was matted and dirty, their ribs visible beneath the thin coats. They were shaking, not just from the cold, but from the fear they had carried with them for who knows how long. Harper knelt down beside them, speaking softly, trying to calm them with her gentle voice. "Hey there, sweethearts," she murmured, reaching out to stroke the trembling dogs. "You're safe now. We're going to take care of you." Andrew, ever the pragmatist, worked quickly to get them into the van. "Let's get them back to the shelter. We can give them a warm bath and some food. They're going to need time to heal." As the dogs were settled in the back of the van, Harper climbed in beside them. She stroked their fur, whispering reassurances. She couldn't help but feel a deep sense of responsibility. These dogs had been through so much, and now it was her turn to help them, to show them they were not alone anymore. The drive back to the shelter was filled with silence, broken only by the occasional sound of Tucker's soft whines or the gentle panting of the retrievers. Harper's mind raced as she thought about what lay ahead for these 2 new arrivals. They needed more than food and shelter. They needed love, patience, and time to trust again. When they arrived at the shelter, the dogs were carefully led inside. Harper and Andrew set them up in a cozy corner, complete with soft bedding, water bowls, and fresh food. The dogs hesitated at first, sniffing the blankets, unsure of their new surroundings, but eventually they curled up together, their tails wagging faintly. Tucker sat close by, his presence a calming influence on them. He had become the silent protector of the shelter, helping to ease the fears of the new arrivals. Harper watched the scene with a sense of relief. "You're safe now," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "No more fear, no more hurt." Andrew stood nearby, watching the dogs settle in. "You've got away with them, Harper," he said quietly. "It's like they know they're finally home." Harper smiled softly, exhaustion creeping in. It's not just me. It's Tucker, too. They trust him. He's been through so much himself. It's like he's telling them everything will be okay. Andrew knelt down beside Tucker, rubbing his head affectionately. He's more than just a rescue dog. He's a hero. The sound of a car pulling into the shelter's lot broke the quiet moment. Harper frowned, exchanging a look with Andrew. Who could that be at this hour? They stepped outside, only to see a sleek black car pull into the lot. A tall, well-dressed woman emerged from the car. Her expression was a mix of hope and hesitation, and as she walked toward them, Harper felt an unfamiliar pang in her chest. "Are you Harper?" the woman asked, her voice soft but confident. Harper nodded, brushing her hair back from her face. "Yes. Can I help you?" The woman smiled faintly, her eyes misting with tears. She reached into her purse and pulled out a photograph. "I believe these dogs are mine," she said, holding the photo out for Harper to see. Harper stared at the photo in disbelief. The dogs, Bailey and Riley, were pictured in a sunlit backyard, healthy and happy. They looked nothing like the frightened, neglected animals Harper had just brought to the shelter. "You know them?" Harper asked, her voice barely a whisper. The woman nodded, tears filling her eyes. "They're my babies, Bailey and Riley. They went missing weeks ago and I've been searching for them ever since. Someone broke into my property and took them. I never thought I'd see them again." Harper's chest tightened with a mixture of emotions. She could see the pain in the woman's eyes, the same pain she had seen in countless other rescue cases. "They're here," Harper said, her voice trembling. "Safe and sound." The woman's composure cracked as she stepped forward, clutching the photo to her chest. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Thank you for saving them." Harper led her inside, where Bailey and Riley immediately perked up at the sight of their owner. The golden retrievers barked happily, their tails wagging furiously as they bounded toward her. The woman fell to her knees, enveloping them in a hug as tears streamed down her face. "They missed you," Harper said softly, her own voice thick with emotion. She felt a lump form in her throat as she watched the reunion. The woman looked up at Harper, her expression filled with gratitude. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, her voice filled with awe. "You didn't just save them. You saved me, too." Harper smiled, wiping a tear from her own cheek. "They're home now, and that's all that matters." Andrew, who had been standing nearby, crossed his arms and smiled proudly. "You've given them a second chance, Harper. That's something no one can take away." The woman, still overwhelmed with emotion, reached into her purse and pulled out a business card. "I run an organization that helps rescue and rehabilitate abused animals," she explained. "We've been looking for people like you, people who put animals first, no matter what. If you're interested, I'd love to partner with you and help your shelter grow." Harper blinked, her mind racing. "Are you serious?" "Absolutely," the woman said firmly. "The world needs more shelters like yours." Harper turned to Andrew, who grinned and gave her a thumbs up. "This is exactly what we've been working toward. It's finally happening." The woman knelt once more to hug Bailey and Riley before preparing to leave. "Thank you again," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "How you saved their lives." Harper watched her drive away, a sense of peace settling over her. Turning to Andrew and Tucker, she exhaled deeply. "We did it," she said, her voice filled with quiet triumph. "They're safe, and we've made a difference." Andrew grinned. "This is just the beginning, Harper. Your shelter's about to change everything." Harper knelt beside Tucker, wrapping her arms around him. "And we couldn't have done it without you, boy. You're a real hero." Tucker licked her face, his tail wagging as if he understood every word. His loyalty, his love, his ability to heal, it was what made him so special. He was more than just a rescue dog. He was part of something greater, a force of good in a world that often seemed cruel. As the night settled in, Harper and Andrew closed the shelter for the night. Harper looked back at the sleeping golden retrievers, their bodies curled up together, finally at peace. The shelter, though small, had become a sanctuary. It was more than just a building. It was a place of second chances. And for Harper, it was the place where she had found her true calling. "Ready for the next challenge?" Andrew teased, his voice light and full of hope. Harper smiled, her heart full. "Always." Tucker barked softly, walking at her side as they headed home. In that quiet, star-filled night, Harper knew she had found her purpose, a life dedicated to saving those who couldn't save themselves. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales of compassion, courage, and second chances. By subscribing, you'll be the first to hear about our upcoming stories that will continue to inspire you to make a difference. Together we can change lives, one act of kindness at a time. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey with us.